Good morning, Bitcoin. Today is Thursday, April 27th, 2023. MadBitcoins, a passion to perform. The price of Bitcoin is up 4.98%. Let's check that again. No, that's correct. The price of Bitcoin is up 4.94% in the last 10 minutes or so. Over the last 24 hours, with a last of 29,717, a high of 29,888, and a low of 29,234. That's $1 for 3,365 Satoshis. Here are today's Mad Bits. That's right, it's me, Thomas Hunt, the host of the Mad Bitcoins program, here to talk to you about the 10th anniversary of Mad Bitcoins. On this day, last week or so, 10 years ago, I created the first Mad Bitcoins video, and enough of me, let's take a look at the video. 10 years ago, Bitcoins was changed forever. Good morning, Bitcoins. I'm Fiat Currency, and here are today's Mad Bits. Butterfly Labs actually shipped something. Working. Giga hash in the wild. That's why I've sent my money to Butterfly Labs, and I'm in line with everyone else. Can you feel the momentum? Giga hash in the wild. Buy Bitcoins today. Mad Bitcoins. And there it is, my very first and pretty much only price prediction on Bitcoin. I suggested to you on April of 2013 that you should buy Bitcoins. Not even Bitcoin, singular, as it's used so much these days, but Bitcoins. A little bit about this video. I'd tacked a green screen up to the side of my living room. And I went in there and I got my old video camera. I got my Burning Man fly goggles, my incredible Mad Hatter hat. I created a kind of a badge for the front out of cardboard and spray paint, because that's what I had. Orange was good. Green was good. Especially later, I would add more green to make it go into the background so you could see the background moving through the thing. But I got out my video camera and I pretty much yelled at it from across the room. I said, Mad Bitcoins, Bitcoins are incredible. And I just wanted to share with people how amazing I thought Bitcoins were. Like, sure, I had a chance. I could have gotten into them 3 months earlier. I could have made more. I could have gotten into them 3 years earlier. I'd be some kind of billionaire if I'd managed to haul the ups and the downs, as well as not losing your coins in one of the many, many exchange collapses or a bad hardware, bad paper wallet. So many ways to lose your coins. But I talked out my friends and family after a few weeks of really getting into Bitcoin after the Cyprus incident. I've told the story many times, but just briefly, Cyprus, a small island in the Mediterranean, had a problem with their banks. Their banks were essentially full of what they said at the time was drug money. So to hurt the drug dealers and to help the country of Cyprus, they were going to take 10% off the top of everybody's bank account. So they were only taking off of people who had more than 100K. So most of you were like, oh yeah, that's fine, whatever. But some people were buying houses during this. They just sold a car. They had too much in their accounts. Normal people were affected by this. And I noticed they had no choices, no option to get out of their government currency and their corporate banks. That's when I thought back to Bitcoin that I'd seen a few years ago on Slashdot. And I thought, well, what if the Cyprus people had Bitcoin? Obviously, they'd need infrastructure like Bitcoin ATMs. They'd need Bitcoin meetups, people like me and Adam Meister and other people to go around and tell them about Bitcoin and really rally that flag. But if they had all of those things, they would have an alternative to this banking system where they were forced to take a haircut. So based upon that, I looked at Bitcoin a second time. I had kind of ignored it for years. You know, the EFF was taking it. The EFF wasn't taking it. Bitcoin was ready to be used. It wasn't ready to be used. All kinds of stories would get across your radar. Bitcoin hits $1. Bitcoin hits $30. Bitcoin hits $100. And the whole time you're feeling pretty dumb because you could have gotten Bitcoin under $1. Of course, again, you probably would have lost it. You probably would have spent it. You probably would have screwed it up somehow. But this early video, I just wanted to get into Bitcoin. I wanted to tell more people about it. I wanted it to be fun and entertaining. And another thing about these videos is I did them that day. I was like, well, I'm psyched about Bitcoin. It's time to make a video. I would just crank it out. And one of my big sayings and phrases is from the Pardon the Interruption show with Tony and Mike Wilbon. And at the end of the show, Tony says, we'll try to do better the next time. And I think you'll see a lot of that here. If we watch MadBitcoins, they get better over time. So let's check out the second episode, How to Check Bitcoin Prices Constantly, from 2013. Good morning, Bitcoin. I'm Andrew Jackson's Ghost, and these are today's Mad Bits. Do you ever wonder how you could check your Bitcoin prices constantly? Every 10 minutes, iPhone, ooh, it's up a quarter. On bitcoinprices.com, a real-time tracker. Ooh, up, 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 go up, ooh. But most of the time, I just sit back and listen to Bitcoin. This is Mad Bitcoins. So if we can go back an episode here. So I had a kind of a fun like bowls of Pamplona opening here, trying to mix it up. I wasn't quite sure what to put at the opening of the show. And then I just really wanted to highlight here. So first we're using bitcoinprices.com to get the real-time price. It had like a scrolling count of the Bitcoin prices. And as they're saying in the chat, this is what I wanted to show you is listen to Bitcoin. So whenever a Bitcoin transaction would go through, and I don't know how the website works, maybe based on the size, it would make a lower note or something like that. The website still exists, listens to Bitcoin, maybe listen to bitcoin.com. But what I want to highlight here is that these numbers are in Bitcoin. These numbers are Bitcoin being sent around. So this bubble was 7 Bitcoin transaction, 11 Bitcoin transaction. That big one, it's hard to believe, and I don't know what was going on there, but 447 Bitcoin moving here. And I also sped up the, listen to Bitcoin, so it sounds kind of like a music box, I think. But yeah, 11 Bitcoin, half, 0.69, all kinds of fun Bitcoin numbers there. This is Mad Bitcoins. So see, I'm still working on the end of the show there. So you'll note here, this is the first appearance of the fractal background by Mondex Design. Shout out to Mondex Design. I wrote them a very desperate letter back in the day saying that I thought these things were free to use, fractal backgrounds. I found out they were owned by them, and I just wanted their permission to use it in my YouTube show. And they wrote back saying it was fine, and I've never heard from them again. Also note on the music, this is the original Mad Bitcoins music, which I had to change because I started getting copyright complaints, and I switched to the new Mad Bitcoins music. So that's why I did that. Ideas and reasons behind the fractal background. I've always thought that this background represented the blockchain and that Mad Bitcoins was reporting to you from inside Bitcoin. That's why it's all flying around, and these are all transactions and blocks. You can see there's clearly a cube in the beginning of this, although it flies towards us. But let's go ahead and check out the third episode of Mad Bitcoins. You'll also note I'm doing really short episodes here. I've got them at like 30 seconds, 55 seconds. I was really trying to be that kind of fun, light character. Good morning, Bitcoin! I'm defensive fortifications that are a monument to the stupidity of man, and here are today's Mad Bits. Why is Bitcoin important? Bitcoin is important because it allows content providers to accept micropayments. Why is that important? The current system doesn't allow you to accept, say, a quarter for a blog because a quarter is too small and would be eaten up by the transaction fees. Why is that important? If you could have a blog that would accept subscribers at maybe a penny or a dime a year, you could have a whole bunch of subscribers. You could have a whole bunch of dimes. So still working on the end of the show there. I'm talking about Bitcoin and micropayments, which I still believe in, although now we'd probably have to use the Lightning Network for that because the Bitcoin fees are too high. I'm also focused on this idea here, like I've said in other places, and I say the same thing a lot, but I believe QR codes are kind of magical. If you put a QR code on the end of a video, if you put a QR code on a poster or your art or your email or whatever it is, someone can scan that QR code, get your Bitcoin address, which is really all that's stored in there, and they could send you Bitcoin. And nowadays you could use the Lightning Network, same idea, send out that QR code, get it out there. Let's see what happens next on MadBitcoins. I do like that background. I still kind of have the scarf flowing in the wind here. Not my choice. You'll see in later episodes, I start to fold up that scarf. The hat is from the Johnny Depp, Tim Burton, Alice in Wonderland film series, Looking Through the Looking Glass and such. I just think it looks great. It's a good hat. And of course, mine is specially modified with the Bitcoin B. Let's see episode 4. Good morning, Bitcoin. I'm the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, and here are today's Mad Bits. Why can't Amazon accept Bitcoin now? Amazon can accept Bitcoins while Bitcoins are on their way up. If Bitcoin is on the decline, and I trade Amazon $5 for a book, and in the next microsecond Amazon trades it for $4.95, that's a 10-cent loss for Amazon. Even worse, if Bitcoin is on a huge crash, Amazon could be trading for 5 cents on the $5. This instability in the Bitcoin market allows vendors to stay out. Why can't Amazon accept Bitcoin instability? Mad Bitcoins! Bitcoin! So it's getting better. You can tell there the music was probably too loud. I probably refused to re-render it. Everything took rendering in those days. I had I'd do a pass with the graphics. I'd do a pass, editing myself and the articles in and out of there. I'd do a pass where I put the background and the music on, and that would all take more rendering time on my slow computer back in the day. But you can see it's getting better. The end of the show is starting to form, I think. Let's keep going. I thought I wouldn't like this, but now I like it.
Good morning, Bitcoin.
Really loud.
I'm all the golden Fort Knox, and here are today's.
So I'm saying little fun things at the beginning. This is kind of just taken from, I guess, fucking FKN News. I want to recognize them, and I want to recognize Zay Frank, early YouTubers. And one of the fun things is they just say random things at the beginning. So I had a list of random things today. Eventually I did all the bank slogans. I did all the famous slogans. I did all the Pepsi Cola slogans, Coca-Cola, all that stuff. These are some of my favorites, like the patent quote from a couple ones ago: "Fixed fortifications are a monument to the stupidity of man." But yeah, just fun quotey things, just to kind of give you that, also kind of that everyman character that Mad Bitcoins is, not just like me or not just Mad Bitcoins. He's fiat currency. He's, all these fun things. So.
Bitcoin prices skyrocketed today to one.
So that might be the first time I said Mad Bits, and the first time that I'm going to do the prices. If you've watched any of the other shows, it's kind of like do the prices, do 3 major stories, and get out of there.
65, then fell about back down to 145, then settled in the 155 to 150 range.
So that's $155 for a Bitcoin. And we were worried about the 145s and the 155s and the movements at this level. A Bitcoin today is around $29,000, $30,000. So pretty crazy.
To which we here at Mad Bitcoins present a play. I bought at 50 and I'm selling at 150. Ha 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 ha. I bought at 115. 150 is pretty good, but I'm gonna hang on. What do you mean Bitcoin's gone up to 150? I've got to buy some more before it hits 250. More. To summarize, Bitcoin prices briefly hit 165, then fell about back to 155. This has been Mad Bitcoin. This is Mad Bitcoins. Mad Bitcoin.
So a lot happening in that episode. We saw the prices. We saw a little play that doesn't make any sense today. I was kind of trying to say that the people that got at 50 got a really good deal and they could dump on the 150 people, but I'm not sure we ever saw 50 again. So that was a great buying opportunity. Also, you see the beginning of the end of the show here. I'm starting to formulate what to say at the end. Again, all these shows, I wanted to do it every day. I knew I wanted to do it Monday through Friday. So a lot of it was about not to say repetition, but building like a form or a format where I was like, I can plug in new things and I can do similar things every day. And this way the show will be a lot easier to produce. I'm just one person writing it here, recording it, editing it, uploading it, trying to tell people about it, all of those things. So I needed to not cut corners, but I needed something replicatable. So that's where this kind of unique closing comes in. You'll see this as well as with, like, say, Ron Burgundy, like you stay classy, San Diego. And of course, classic newsmen like Walter Cronkite and other people, they all have their sign-offs. So this is the development of the Mad Bitcoin sign-off here. Let's watch it again.
Bitcoin prices briefly hit 165, then fell about back to 155. This has been Mad Bitcoin. This is Mad Bitcoins. Mad Bitcoin.
So it's a little bit there. You see, I say it 3 times. Lewis Carroll once said that anything you say 3 times must be true. So that's always good to know. Bitcoin prices fluctuate violently.
Good morning, Bitcoins! I'm 30 pieces of silver to pay the devil, and here are today's Mad Bits. Bitcoin prices were all over the board today, starting out in the 125 range, launching all the way up to the 145 range, then back down to the 125 range, suddenly.
So you see, there's the first chart, and this episode, early episode, you can see that the green parts of the chart are blending through. Depending on how I did the graphics, in what order, depends if they bleed through.
The 125 to 135 range. As you can see, Bitcoin volatility continues to be incredibly violent. And now, viewer mail. The Ted Writer writes, Wrongo. There are APIs right now that let Amazon and other vendors set their prices in US dollars and immediately convert them to Bitcoin's exchange values. When they make the sell, the Bitcoins are immediately converted into US dollars. Stop spreading fear, uncertainty, and doubt.
Welcome to the internet, Mr. Mad Bitcoins. You're out there trying to promote Bitcoin, something you really like, you think is good for people, and you're accused of spreading FUD by the Ted Writer. So as I say on the show, yes, there are APIs, but not for Amazon size charts. And again, it's a back and forth. It's fun that at this point I was already talking to the audience, only 6 episodes in.
Ted Writer. Thank you, Ted, for writing in. I agree, there are APIs that let individuals and perhaps small vendors set their prices to sell and exchange immediately. But what if the price was going down on a steep drop? Who's going to take the fall? That's the question here. If the price is 150 when I trade for a computer or a book or whatever have you, and the next second or the next microsecond the price is 140, someone has to take the fall. Now maybe it's this intermediary party which will guarantee Amazon's losses, that they won't have losses. But I seriously doubt that any of the current APIs are going to be able to take the millions of dollars daily that Amazon no doubtly.
And interestingly enough, I think this is how Strike works these days. That Strike, the intermediary party, has large bets on Bitcoin futures and large bets against Bitcoin on both sides, so that while the market price is going up or down, Strike can maintain a constant price and allow you to send your Bitcoin of like $10 to the Philippines or to anywhere you want, and for it to be $10 on the other side. So it's interesting to see these early hedging ideas already starting to kind of form.
Undoubtedly does. I don't know the details on Amazon's daily profits, but I imagine that they are in the millions and would overwhelm any of the current APIs. Amazon is the largest fish in the pool. We need them to accept Bitcoins. I'm supporting this idea. I just don't see how they can do it given the current volatility. Mr.
10 years later, Amazon still doesn't accept Bitcoins. Not sure I would have predicted that. I think I probably would have predicted sooner.
Fatilio writes, I bought at 130 and spent the coins to purchase a product. Think about it. A whole new use for a currency. You should try it someday. Maybe it helps better establish the system.
It's so funny. We're having the same debate today about spending Bitcoin or not spending Bitcoin, about the early people being heroes who spent Bitcoin. Obviously, $130 back then, $29,000 today. Interesting stuff.
I agree, Mr. Fatilo. I would like to use my Bitcoin to purchase something. I'm just a little concerned about the price of my Bitcoin. Whatever I buy would have to be worth more than the current value and more of the estimated value. So if I bought my Bitcoin at 120 and the price goes up to 140, whatever I bought yesterday for 120 had better be something that goes up in value. This makes it very difficult to buy your average things that you would eat, things that you would use, things that you would destroy. Because if the price isn't going to go up, I don't see why you would move your money out of Bitcoins into a product. Also, it's my understanding that only OkCupid, some kind of porn site, that drug site, Silk Road or whatever it's called, only a couple of people are actually accepting Bitcoins. And unfortunately, I only have one. So I'm not really in a hurry to spend it, although I would like to, and I do look forward to the future of this as a currency, and I do support it. I'm just worried about the volatility and excited and interested by the volatility. It's exciting. Thanks for writing. That's about all the time we have for today. Until tomorrow, these have been Mad Bitcoins.
Mad Bitcoins!
Mad Bitcoins?
So there it is, a further refinement of the 3 Mad Bitcoins at the end of the show, getting pretty close to what we see in modern episodes.
Good morning, Bitcoin.
Oh, and I look right there. I've got a title graphic, not quite the one that I ended up going with, but clearly an early version. And it's interesting watching at home with a YouTube, Google or YouTube or whatever you want to call it. They've put little chapters in to my old videos. So I'm thinking this is one where I do some stories and Mad Bitcoin starts to take its full form. This is episode number 7.
Creature from Jekyll Island. Here are today's Mad Bit.
It's still very much too loud. I'm yelling at the camera. I don't think I have the clip-on microphone yet. Interesting story. Back in the day, Adam B. Levine from Let's Talk Bitcoin, also a fan of the show, wrote me a message and was like, hey, you should just buy a clip-on mic. They're $20, plug it in your camera, da-da-da. And, you know, unless you're in media and stuff, you just don't think of that. You're like, there's a microphone on the camera. It's working fine. And so, yeah, a couple days later, I get the clip-on mic and the sound much improves. But I'm not sure what episode that happens on. Right now, I'm kind of curious to see the formation of the end of the episode. Also, we're back down to 1:20 here, so it's a nice tight episode.
Bitcoin prices continue
There's
to
a
rise,
chart. Look at that.
in active trading.
Custom Mad Bitcoins chart. Of course, in later days, I'd realize this takes extra time to do the custom ones. Let's see. I'm checking in with the chat. Shout out to Steven. He says he likes the episodes where Ben has QR codes and his face gets slapped. Those are some really fun Bitcoin group episodes. And Ben also would get sprayed by water and all kinds of other stuff. He should bring that back. It was super cool. Dusty says he misses the book excerpts. I used to read books before, what was it called? Bitcoin Talk Show on the World Crypto Network, where we'd get together and try to do some call-in shows. Those were pretty fun. And let's see. BTC Moon Guy says, congratulations, Mad Bitcoins. DP Murray says, it's just 10 years ago, but it feels like a lot less. And Steven asks, how many clips am I going to do? Well, it definitely is a clip show. I've been putting it off because I don't like clip shows. But even less, I like editing all day and all night and trying to pull this together. And I know it's a lot easier to do live. I'm going to watch some clips till I get tired of it. I hope to do a good selection, although there are 700 or so Mad Bitcoins videos and thousands of World Crypto Network videos. So we're never going to get to them all. But if you check them out on your own, madbitcoins.com or worldcryptonetwork.com. So here we are. We've got the prices. 146 is the high. That's dollars.
Volume steady around 64,000. In other news, Bitcoin mining is becoming more difficult, as you can see from this graph. Difficulty during.
So remember a couple days ago, I was all, let's get a Butterfly Labs miner. Woo! Well, as you can see, just as time worked out, Mad Bitcoin seemed to have joined Bitcoin right at the gigahash revolution. Butterfly Labs and many other companies had started shipping new Bitcoin mining chips that were much, much faster and better than the old chips. As you can see here, this line almost goes straight up of the Bitcoin difficulty. And what you're also seeing is the hopes for small miners like myself with my single Butterfly Labs miner, which took a long time to come. Any of our profits are fading here. At these lower numbers, you could have made maybe $300, the price of a miner, in a week. But at these higher numbers, it could take you 6 months or a year. And of course, $300 at the time, It might have been around 3 Bitcoins. So that's an expensive miner.
2013 has become incredibly difficult. We're entering the era of the gigahash miner. Exciting. In other news, rumbles around the internet that the $250 spike in Bitcoin prices was caused by the people of Cyprus adopting Bitcoin as a sort of national currency. As you know, the people of Cyprus, it's a complicated situation. There's outside money coming into Cyprus, so they decided to tax it, so the people are trying to get out of there, so they need a safe haven. Maybe Bitcoin is that safe haven. Let's move on. Could Bitcoin replace a national currency? Could fiat currency be on its way out? Find out next time on Mad Bitcoins. Mad Bitcoins, Mad Bitcoins, Mad Bitcoins, Mad Bitcoins. It's really hot in this suit.
So pretty funny outro there. Still working on it. I like how I complain that it's hot in the suit, and also just kind of the general fun atmosphere to the end of the episode and the realization about the gigahash miners. Also interesting to hear the Cyprus explanation, although I don't think that the Cyprus people had access to Bitcoin. I think it was more people like me who mentally could see it once they had the Cyprus example. Well, let's try another one.
Good morning, Bitcoin. I'm a penny for your thoughts.
That might have been the first really good Morning Bitcoin. Again, it's clearly referencing Good Morning Vietnam by Robin Williams and others. And he was referencing the guy before that who did that in Vietnam.
And this is Mad Bitcoins. Here are today's Mad Bits. Flash crash! Ah! The sky is falling! The sky is falling! Welcome, welcome, welcome back to the wild, wild world of Bitcoin. Prices dropped from 141 all the way to 104. Recovery led all the way back up to 118, but was knocked down to 114, back up to 118, back down to 114. It was a wild day. The wildness perhaps due to DOS attacks on the drug trading site Silk Road. Also of note, Butterfly Labs released a confirm or die email, causing their website to immediately crash. Or perhaps it was caused by DOS attacks later in the day. With Bitcoins, DOS attacks seem to be like weather. And by weather standards, today was a very cloudy day. But with clouds, there's always a silver lining. Ashton Kutcher buys into Bitcoin. The Bitcoin revolution is here, and it offers an investing opportunity. Ashton Kutcher tells the TechCrunch Disrupt conference Wednesday. I think Bitcoins are obviously becoming more and more relevant, the actor said. The fact that people are hacking Bitcoins really hard, it almost harkens back to the day when banks first started, and they didn't have safe safes. And people were going into the banks and just robbing money out of the safe. It actually validates the value.
Safe safes is a hilarious joke.
Of the money itself, he said. I think that the fact that you can buy drugs and ammo with it is actually a validator of the currency itself. Great quote, Kelso. The first Bitcoin was sent into space.
I called him Kelso.
Reddit user Lentil Soup wanted to send a Bitcoin tip to Canadian astronaut Chris Hadfield. This is by far the easiest way I know of sending $5 into space.
So it's interesting that it looks like he was using the Reddit Bitcoin tip bot, which would later be upgraded or replaced to the Change Tip tip bot. And there was a lot of drama about that. So it's interesting to see the original Reddit tip bot there in action.
Said Lentil Soup. This is one small step for Lentil Soup, but one giant leap for Bitcoin. This has been Mad Bitcoins. Mad Bitcoins! Mad! Especially today. We're really mad.
We're really mad because the price crashed from 140 to 120. Here's another Pamplona Running with the Bulls intro. Still working on that introduction part. Oh, this is probably the first appearance of, I think it's George Lumiere. I want to say Lumiere, but it's A Voyage to the Moon. And it's just an absolute classic silent film, brilliant production, incredible sets. And I roped the whole thing down to about 7 seconds here. They're working on a plan. They've got the cannon and boom, right into the moon. So again, Mad Bitcoins to the moon. Bitcoin to the moon. It's always been in there. And we're also seeing the development of the opening credits here.
Good morning, Bitcoin.
So like today, I tried it with no white background, and I was like, oh, that looks terrible. But again, you're doing daily shows here. So you're like, I'll just take it. I'll keep moving. I'll do it better tomorrow.
On Thursday, May 2nd, 4:35 p.m. Caracas, Venezuela. I'm a blue chip in a bear market, and here are today's Mad Bits. Bitcoin prices were all over the board today, starting off at 113 and falling to 91. Bitcoin prices recovered to about 105 in active trading. You may be asking yourself, what's been causing the flash crash in the Bitcoin market? We at MadBitcoins believe it to be the work of 2 Bitcoin miners recently released into the wild by Butterfly Labs. These 2 miners, codenamed Spirit and Opportunity, have been sent to reviewers and are now in the wild mining Bitcoin. As you can see from this graph, Bitcoin mining difficulty has increased exponentially, and we have seen the price crash to a new all-time recent low. Yesterday we reported that the first Bitcoin had been sent into space. Now we can officially report that the first Bitcoin has been rejected in space. Sadly,
I can't have nice
Chris
things.
Hadfield was not able to accept the Bitcoin sent by Lentil Soup. Colonel Chris Hadfield writes, "This is Chris's son, Evan. I'm using his account just so people will notice this. No Bitcoin has or will be accepted from orbit at this time. It is illegal for Dad to take any tips outside of his pay, as he is a government employee. I don't know much about Bitcoin, but from what I've read, the Canadian government counts it as taxable income. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but this can't be a first." He is wrong about that. It is a first. The first Bitcoin rejected in space. Congratulations, Bitcoin. Way to go. Will Bitcoin be accepted by PayPal? eBay may soon open its wallet to the virtual currency Bitcoin. The Wall Street Journal writes,
So you see, this actually happened. eBay did accept, well, PayPal does accept Bitcoin, so you can do it through eBay. It's also interesting to see, I've got the graphics up now. I've got graphics for stories, so you can see it's really coming together.
Buy Bitcoins on eBay. Then you could use the Bitcoins you bought on eBay to buy things on eBay with PayPal, and so forth, and so.
This led to me eventually trying to sell Bitcoin on eBay, which was a horrible idea and turned out horribly. The people took the Bitcoin, then they claimed they were hacked, and then they took the money back as well. So terrible, terrible attempts to sell Bitcoin on eBay back in the day. And that was before they banned it, and then they unbanned it, and then now they have a whole section. I think it's very legitimate now, but.
So forth. At long last, you can sell Bitcoins for Bitcoins. Also, this happened. This has been Mad Bitcoin. Mad!
All right, that was too quick even for me.
This is.
And again, sometimes you cut things too quickly. Let's see.
You can sell Bitcoins for Bitcoins. Also, this happened.
So that looks like it's listentobitcoin.com. And I think it's just very large Bitcoin transactions. One of them here is 4,923 Bitcoins. That's probably the background bubble. Some of the other ones, 930, 853, 821, 889. I don't know what was going on with Bitcoin, but apparently I was watching Listen to Bitcoin as I used to, and there was a really big bubble. So pretty cool.
This has been Mad Bitcoin.
Bitcoins! Mad! Bitcoins!
They're crazy. They're nuts. They're whacked.
So still working on the end of the show. Still working on the beginning of the show. Oh, look, slow-mo today. In case you didn't get it before. To the moon.
Good morning, Bitcoin. It's Saturday, May 4th, 2013. It's
Doing a Saturday show here, although my goal was Monday through Friday for a while, and sometimes I would do weekends too, so that was like more shows in a row. I was also, in the old days, I was really worried about having a day without a show. So when I went to Burning Man, I made a bunch of mini shows in advance that weren't about the price or the news. Excuse me. And I put those online when I couldn't upload an episode. So this is a Saturday show.
Active trading day, but we're going up. The market is steady at 111 with a low of 90 and a high of 116. The flash crash is over. We hope you enjoyed your buying opportunity. Here are today's
Ain't that the
Mad
truth?
Bits. How to easily make your own Bitcoin checks with the face of Dr. Evil on them. That's right, you can now print your very own Dr. Evil Bitcoin checks to give to your friends. Avoid the hassles of linking bank accounts and just give your pals some cold hard cash. We'd like to thank Ripper2345 for the link, who also sent in this fantastic story about Bitcoin. Ha ha, we don't need you anymore. By Ripper2345. So I was a bit frustrated with my bank yesterday. I tried to do some operations, including wiring 8K to Mt. Gox after previously sending money to them a few times. And the bank teller told me, we need to check with our legal department.
All right, so there's some story going on here, but I love the part with the Bitcoin check or the Bitcoin paper wallet. Yeah, that was super cool. Bitcoin paper wallets back in the day. Sadly, we don't really use those anymore. The random number generators on the early JavaScript used for those things weren't very random, so it's actually very dangerous. People are even speculating today that maybe these large openings of old Satoshi era wallets might be due to their paper wallets being cracked. But right there, you could see that's too fast, but there's a paper wallet with Dr. Evil on it. It was pretty fun. I think we had some with Andreas back in the day. Andreas had a lot of those, things like that. So I read the guy's story. It's like we're talking about buying Bitcoin with e-currency. Let's see how the episode ends. Let's see.
Trade agreements, but because of Bitcoin. Because of
also,
Bitcoin.
we're talking about China for the first time here. We would talk about China many, many more times throughout the show.
This has been Mad Bitcoins. Absurd, bananas, batty, crazed, cuckoo, daft, delirious, demented, deranged, fantastic, foolhardy, frantic, frenzied, kooky, loony, ludicrous, lunatic, mental, non-compos mentis, nonsensical, nutty, of unsound mind, oft one's rocker, out of one's mind, preposterous, psychotic, rabid, raving, senseless, unbalanced, unhinged, unreasonable, unsafe, unsound, unstable, wacky.
So obviously I got a hold of a thesaurus there, and it's just like Ron Burgundy in the great Anchorman movies. Mad Bitcoins will say anything that I write on the paper. So that's good to have. That's convenient. It looks like the intro is really coming together. This is episode 11.
Good.
That spinning Bitcoin animation was done by my roommate, who helped me out. Shout out to Eric back in the day.
Morning Bitcoin! It's Tuesday, May 7th at 11:29 a.m. in Perth, Australia.
I might have a clip-on microphone here, but I'm still very much yelling. It looks like I've changed from the black tie to the gold tie.
I'm a bull in a bear market, and frankly, my dear, I don't give a Satoshi. Here are today's
That's the kind of thing I think is funny.
Mad Bits! Bitcoin continues to trend downward with a high of 124 and a low of 102 and a last of 103. It's a buying market again, people. I don't know what's making it go down. We hit the psychological barrier of 120, popped right over it, and then now we've tumbled right back downward to 100. Will it go under the psychological barrier of 100? I don't know. Last time it went down to 80.
And this was always so confusing to me at the time, because I'm just like, Bitcoin is the greatest thing ever. There's Coinbase, there's BitPay, there's a way to buy it, there's a way to accept it as a merchant. You can do the QR code thing, as I've said before. This is just the greatest thing that's happened. And I'm like, how could the price be going down? Even like 100 to 120 or 120 to 100, whatever. I'm like, this is just crazy.
Our top story tonight, Chinese Bitcoin rush continues. Over the past 24 hours, BTC China is the number 4 exchange in volume. Over 6% of all Bitcoin traffic is Chinese. The Chinese Bitcoin run has begun. The effect on China and the Bitcoin market is already being
Pretty
realized.
epic story
Bitcoin
to be covering
wallet
there.
software has been downloaded nearly 40,000 times since the program aired 3 days ago.
I think
That's
this is
almost
even
7
before
times
China
the number
banned
downloaded in
Bitcoin
the US over the same
the
period,
first time,
and
whatever.
13 times the rate of downloads in China leading up to the report. If this trend continues, we may have just witnessed the single most significant event in Bitcoin history. A Forbes writer is living
And
on
Mad
Bitcoin.
Bitcoins is there to
Eating
cover
only sushi
it.
and cupcakes, but she's surviving in San Francisco on only Bitcoin. The Observer effect has opened up an organic grocery, and now she's living off anything she wants. It's a groundbreaking and historic article. By defining the landscape, it will change San Francisco. She'll be able to do another article in 6 months to a year, and everything will have.
That's funny. The renovated crack house she's describing is 20 Mission, which was like a co-working space and a shared space. She's getting there really early when, as she says, it's still being renovated. It was in bad shape for a while. Also, shout out to Kashmir Hill. This was an epic and amazing article, although I think she spent like 20 or 30 Bitcoins living off it. So crushing. I don't think she held an equal amount.
Changed. She'll be able to use Bitcoin everywhere, at least in San Francisco. 0.8.2 update the 5430 Satoshi dust transaction limit, which is really confusing to a lot of people, so I'm just going to read this. TLDR. Bitcoin dev changes a default option. Bitcoin talk thread erupts into a wave of misunderstanding. Original pull request turns out to be better thought out than implied by some, and now many more. Can we keep calm? Edit. It was also pointed out by another developer that this patch actually gives more freedom to the miner than they originally had. A previously hard-coded transaction fee can now be decided collectively by the free market, should the need arise. This is future-proofing Bitcoin. One of the problems I'd heard is if it reaches the number where there are no more Bitcoins, there's no reason for anyone to mine. Having a flexible transaction fee would be incredibly valuable. Thank you, Gavin. Bye. This is great. 7TRXMK6Z. Those of us that actually read understand the poll being implemented are grateful because we understand that you're actually giving more control to the users over how they handle transaction, and that the default setting is simply in place so that dumb users save bandwidth by not relaying spam, and so that they always have valid transaction. You're getting a ton.
So we're going pretty technical here, but you can see the show really started to come together between the using the white MadBitcoins title card, zooming in on the articles, back and forth.
And the idiots screaming at your metaphorical door. They may not realize it right this second, but the Bitcoin community will eventually appreciate. Oh, and one more thing. But yes, as a retailer, I am salivating over the idea of this silently competing with credit cards and their fees and the hidden costs of dealing with cash, counting it, the fee I pay to Wells Fargo for a business account, transferring it. With Bitcoin, when the transaction is done, it's done. That's awesome.
It's kind of the same thing. I forgot to mention it, but Jack Mallers did an incredible speech in front of Congress and some congressmen and House members today, senators and House members. And one of the things he was talking to is kind of this idea about Bitcoin being a transaction layer and a finalization layer where your settlements are final. And yeah, we still haven't gotten there with retail and people are still paying credit cards. But I feel with the Lightning Network and other things, we're just getting closer and closer. It's also interesting to look at this particularly as a block quote. This is the kind of thing that I used to do back when I worked for lawyers, and I did databases and all kinds of other things with the lawyers, and I did trial presentations. And one of the things would be they'd say, okay, page number 665, bring up paragraph 3, section 2, and I on the computer would really quickly type that in, bring it up, highlight the right paragraph on the screen, and it would pop out so that the jury could read it. So I'm kind of doing the same things here with MadBitcoins, presenting the evidence directly to you.
This has been Mad Bitcoins.
Mad Bitcoins! Mad Bitcoins!
It's so funny because I never know what I'm going to do. But you can tell that the show is starting to grow. It's getting more newsy. And the fact that I'm dressed up like MadBitcoins isn't stopping me from sharing real news, real opinions, serious content, despite the silliness.
Wednesday, May 8th, 2013. It's 10 o'clock in the morning in Kathmandu, Nepal. I'm a wire transfer on a weekend. Here are today's
wire transfer on a weekend. That's just
Coinbase
funny.
scores $5 million in funding. The deal, which followed a seed round in September 2012 of $600,000, will help the San Francisco-based company cover operating costs and hire engineers.
So there it is, first mention of Coinbase. The famous San Francisco startup still dominates the news today. Ironically enough, I guess what I should have done is written them and said that I would do tech support or anything, because that's what, gosh, I forgot his name right here, but the number 3 guy at Coinbase or something did that. And then he started all these other things and he's rolling billionaires now. But still, epic beginning of Coinbase. At one point, I worked at a startup called BTC Jam, and we were on the same floor as Coinbase. We were backed by the same people. Sadly, Jam did not turn out to be the next Coinbase.
Here's designers and business support staff. Y Combinator's Paul Graham says Coinbase's growth is very, very rare. He added that he thinks Bitcoin is poised to be a true game changer for the business world, and that the tech community in particular. Hackers are the animals that can detect a storm coming or an earthquake, he said. They just know, even though they don't know why. And there are 2 big things hackers are really excited right now and can't articulate: Bitcoin and 3D printing.
I still feel the same way. Bitcoin and 3D printing are really exciting. Maybe throw in virtual reality, metaverse, NFTs, some other stuff, but Bitcoin and 3D printing, not bad.
I couldn't agree more. Ex-Facebook exec warns that Facebook is getting lost in incremental feature creep, and that it should be focusing on groundbreaking new products, like bringing Bitcoin to the mainstream. Imagine a Facebook where you could exchange Bitcoins with your friends to split a bill at a restaurant, or pay someone back for concert tickets. Or maybe just buy those tickets, or the tacos. Facebook could be its own bank. Or they could just be lazy and do nothing. It's up to them, because either way, Bitcoin is coming. 23-year-old Charles Shrem is 23, co-founder of
First mention of Charlie
23,
Shrem.
And a millionaire. Let me just chime in with the chorus of how sad we all are that so many other people who are not us are Bitcoin millionaires, when it very easily could have been us. But it's not us. But hey, at least we get to help take down the corrupt fiat currency and return the globe to a Jacksonian state of monetary freedom. And that ain't bad.
Hi-oh.
One more thing. You don't own your house, or your car, or your labor. Everybody should have some Bitcoin, because it's one of the few things you can truly own.
Still true
today. It
today.
doesn't have to be much, but I really believe that everybody would be wise to own at least a small portion of Bitcoins. Something to cherish and protect. Something you can truly call yours. Buy Bitcoin today. This has been Mad Bitcoins.
Mad Bitcoins!
Mad Bitcoins.
It's still very much the 3 Mad Bitcoins voice thing at the end. Not quite to 100%, but those are the first 12 episodes of Mad Bitcoins. Now we're going to go to some other ones. This was the Bitcoin introductory video. YouTube gave you the ability to put a video up whenever people came to your channel. And so I've had this one up there for years and years, I guess 10 years. It got 17,000 views, which is really good for one of my videos. Let's check out 3 minutes with Bitcoin introductory video. Bitcoin is the lever with which we will move the world. Very loud show.
Good morning, Bitcoins, and welcome to the Mad Bitcoins introductory video.
So you know what, I've got the clip-on mic here. I'm zoomed back a little bit. I think I'd get a tighter shot in the future.
This video explains how Mad Bitcoins became a YouTube
Also
TV
got a
show
Bitcoin pin and a
serves as an
Bitcoin
introduction and welcome to you,
tie clip.
new viewer. Welcome to the Mad Bitcoins channel. I believe in Bitcoin, and I'd like to share an old Archimedes quote that is very important to me. Give me a place to stand, and with a long enough lever, I will move the world. I deeply and genuinely feel that the world needs moving. I spend a lot of time looking for the right lever. I believe Bitcoin is it. Bitcoin is the lever with which we will move the world. I just wanted to be a part of this. I'm not rich. I'm not good at taking risks. I failed to invest in Bitcoin early, got burned by Facebook stock, didn't sell Apple when it's high, and I don't have a job right now. I used to have a job, solving technical problems for fancy corporate lawyers. I worked for them for 7 years before they gave me 7 days to clean out my desk because they had sold the law firm to a larger firm. and I suddenly went from indispensable to dispensable. So I had a little time off, and I'd do anything not to have to go back to a similar soul-crushing job. So I decided to create my own YouTube TV show. I'd always wanted to do a show like this. I was a big fan of The Daily Show, Colbert Report, Fucking News, Zay Frank, etc. I had the green screen and a camera, but things really started to take off when I ordered a clip-on microphone on the suggestion of Let's Talk Bitcoin's Adam Levine. It really helped improve my sound quality and brought my production values to a whole nother level. In case you're wondering, MadBitcoins is a one-man operation. So if you're wondering how many mouths I have to feed, the answer is one. And it doesn't seem to matter how many different hats you wear. It doesn't change the number of mouths you have to feed. I wear hats like writer,
I love that
costumer,
scroll, the
performer,
jobs.
lighting specialist, recording engineer, editor, graphics developer, promotions, website development. That's not
Even though I'm kind of complaining about it here, breaking things up into kind of jobs is a good way if you're working on a project that's too large to make it seem more doable. So when I was doing the show, I'd be like, well, you just have to write it. You know, that's your job is just to write it. And once it's written, I'd read it out loud to practice. And then I'd go to what I called wardrobe, which is me putting on a suit. And, you know, when you go to wardrobe, all you have to do is put on the suit, right? And then you get more into it. You're like, oh, wardrobe wants your hair to be nice. And wardrobe thinks you should put this on or whatever, and all those kind of things. But by breaking it up into sections, it can make the job seem more doable. So you're like, my job at this point is just to read the episode off the screen into the video, right? It's done, you're done. And then later on, you know, the editing guy comes around. He's like, my job is to edit the video, so on and so forth.
9 jobs. It would take an entire baseball team to do my job, and I'd imagine they could eat a whole horse. I'd settle for just a piece of that horse. I try to do a new show every Monday to Friday. On Saturdays, I try to do speeches or quotes from my favorite movies. In the incredibly short-term future, I may have to cut my schedule back to accommodate another soul-crushing job like the one I used to have.
Ain't that the truth?
But until then, I'm a free man making mad bitcoins on his own in his living room. Thank you for watching, commenting, liking, sharing, subscribing, and donating. I couldn't do this without you, and I wouldn't want to do it without you. I believe the answer to the long-asked question, which currency will replace the dollar as the world's reserve currency, has been answered. The answer is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the lever with which we will move the world. Bitcoin is the lever with which we will move the world. Bitcoin is the lever with which we will move the world. This has been Mad Bitcoins. Special introductory video. Mad Bitcoins? Mad Bitcoin.
So there you go, the introductory video for Mad Bitcoins. Still very much believe what I said there. Bitcoin is the lever with which we will move the world. Also interesting to hear I was still doing it from the living room. I think originally when I started it, one of the reasons I just kind of commandeered the living room is I thought my roommates and my brother and everyone else would get into Bitcoin. And maybe they'd want to help on the Mad Bitcoin show or even be guests or something, you know? And that didn't happen. I mean, they did, some of them did get into Bitcoin. My brother got into Bitcoin, certainly, but they never really helped out or became part of the show. So eventually I moved the show into my walk-in closet, which is not, it was not a very big closet, but it worked for the show. After a while, Mad Bitcoin started going places. This is shows outside of my bedroom or out of my closet. Here's a little bit of one, and these are kind of too long to watch on this clip show, but let's see what we got. This was the 2014 BitGive bowling charity bowling tournament, and my friend Connie Galippi over at BitGive was having this tournament, so I went to San Francisco to film it. And it's really interesting. No one in San Francisco was filming these things. There was no one else there. It's Connie. And so this is kind of the only record of this, but this is really an amazing event. That's Charlie Lee, the creator of Litecoin, wearing his Coinbase bowling jersey they made specially for this event. No, not that time. Zappo was there. Kraken was there. BTC Jam was there. There's Alexis from BTC Jam. My friend Jesse Powell from Kraken. He didn't want to bash on the other teams, but that was part of the joke. BTC Jam had the best costumes. How could I not go work there with their amazing Lebowski costume? Shout out to Kelso and my friend Isabel. There's Jason King wearing his Bit Lebowski costume. And it's just a really amazing event. These are all like Zappo, BitPay, Coinbase, all the companies that had excited me about Bitcoin. And here were their representatives doing some bowling for a charity tournament. So pretty epic. Probably all the people in this video are millionaires or billionaires now or whatever. This is pretty neat. You always got to be creative when you're out filming, especially you're a one-man operation. So I filmed them taking their pictures. How clever is that? And then look at Charlie Lee right here. Oh, doesn't like being filmed. But there it is. There's Zappo, BitPay, BitGive, and Coinbase with Charlie Lee's awesome bowling jersey at the 2014 BitGive bowling tournament. Sorry about the microphone there. A little bit more from these classics here.
Good morning,
Louder.
Bitcoins. This is Mad Bitcoins live
Only
from
one
San
channel,
Francisco.
though.
We're waiting for Jason King from Sean's Outpost to cross the finish line for his amazing Bitcoin run across America. It's happening shortly at the BitPay offices across the street from the San Francisco Giants ballpark.
So a truly epic shot there. We went out of our way to get that shot for you. And this is my friend Jason King from Sean's Outpost. He was an early Bitcoiner, used to collect Bitcoin for charity and would help the homeless in Florida. And he ran across the country for Bitcoin. Not enough people talk about it these days. I think they could have filmed a lot more of it and been more successful. But here he is coming up on the finish line. You can see the Bitcoin Across America bus, sponsored by CryptoKit, BitPay, Ethereum. There's so this is pretty epic right here. Here's Davi Barker and Drew from Bitcoin Not Bombs. And that might be Paige. I don't know. There's Ryan Singer, a very early Bitcoiner, VC type character. There's BitPage from BitPay right here. That's Paige. She did not want to be filmed. But you got to film what's happening. And what we're trying to do is set up a little finish line here for Jason at the end of his race, right out in front of San Francisco Giants ballpark. So we even roped a few normal people into this that were not there for Bitcoin. But here comes Jason. Let's see if we can get ahead here a little bit. Jason's running in his traditional 5-fingered shoes. He ran all the way across the country in these crazy shoes. Jason King, ladies and gentlemen. So it's pretty cool. And then later on, we did kind of a walk and talk. Jason.
What are you going to do next?
I'm going to a Giants game.
Go to a Giants game. Fun. And then this is funny for like another reason, but I'm gonna let this run so you guys can enjoy it. Who's that in the background?
So it hasn't really even. I don't think it's hit me yet.
You still warm. You still want to run.
Yeah. It's still.
So you're not going to run 30 miles tomorrow?
You know, I might.
You might, just in case.
Just in case, you know, I don't know.
So how many miles a day have you been doing?
It's like a drug, right? You got to back it off slowly. You just can't go cold turkey. Yeah, that'll be bad. It'd be bad. So yes, I averaged 31.7 miles for the course a day for the course of the run.
Incredible, 31.7. I don't think I could do that in a month, let alone in a day.
50 kilometers exact. Nice.
Yeah, it sounds so much better in metric, man. The run's over 5,000 kilometers, which just sounds way more cool than 3,000 miles, you know.
I think the metric system better. Anyway, we lost that damn rover because of the metric system. They did a bad conversion, and it ended up underground because that's where they told it to go.
So there it is. I made Vitalik Buterin laugh. That's the creator of Ethereum, Vitalik Buterin, just hanging out with me and Jason there. He was an early Bitcoiner as well as the creator of Ethereum. So that's pretty cool. Oops. Playing again. Mad Bitcoin Season 2, I did a lot more episodes. They're pretty good. I started to get the format down tight, so I don't think it's as fun to watch as the first couple ones there. I did a lot of really fun Bitcoin speeches and movie parodies. Some of these people don't get or they don't understand. If you've seen the movie, it makes a lot of sense. Not sure which one to play, whether I should play one of the popular ones or try to play one that hasn't really hit it. I guess this is pretty much one of my favorites. I put this up whenever the price is going up. This is when we were going to break 1,000.
Heavily shielded and carries a firepower greater than half.
Obviously, Star Wars, the end.
Its defenses are designed around a direct, large-scale assault. A small, one-man day
You'll note I have very good audio now thanks to that clip-on mic.
trader should be able to penetrate the outer defense. Pardon me for asking, sir, but what good are day traders going to be against that? The Empire doesn't consider a day trader to be any threat, or they'd have a tighter defense. An analysis of the plans provided by Princess Satoshi has demonstrated a weakness in Bitcoin 1000. The approach
I don't
will
get
not
any
be
credit,
easy.
but I did all the
You will
sound
be
effects
required to
too.
maneuver straight down this trench and skim the surface to this point. The target area is only 2 meters wide. It's a small thermal exhaust port right below the main port. The shaft leads directly to the reactor system. A precise hit will start a chain reaction which should cause Bitcoin to rise above $1,000. Only a precise hit will register on the blockchain. All cryptocurrency is ray shielded, so you'll have to use Bitcoin torpedoes. That's impossible, even for an ASIC. That's not impossible. I used to mine Bitcoins with my Commodore 64 back home, and they're not much faster than graphics cards. Gentlemen, man your ships, and may Bitcoin be with you.
They can't ding you for the music license if you make the music yourself. Oh, this is a good one. This is V for Vendetta. When we went to Las Vegas, it's kind of too graphical though. I guess I want to just shortly mention. Oh, I like the Secretary of Scaling. A lot of these are pretty good. We need a separate episode where I could just watch these. Like I said, on the weekends, I would try to parody my favorite movies and my favorite scenes, my favorite quotes, and turn them into Bitcoin. Let's watch the Secretary of Scaling. This is from Idiocracy, of course.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of America!
Shit.
I was on the teleprompter.
I know shit's bad right now, with all this scaling bullshit, and the Bcash and the dust storms, and we're running out of French fries and burrito cutlets. But I got a solution.
Hey, that's what you said last time, core lover.
I got a solution. Let's just fork. Bitcoin Cash, what?
Apparently it's burrito coverings. I screwed that up with cutlets. They didn't know the word tortilla, I suppose, in the Idiocracy future.
That's what I thought. Now I understand everyone's shit's emotional right now. But listen up. I got a 3-point plan to fix everything. Number 1, we got this guy, SegWit.
Yeah! Woo!
Number 2, he's gonna give us layer 2 solutions that's even better than big blocks. And number 3, he's gonna fix everything. I give you my word as president of Bitcoin. He'll fix the scaling, and that ain't all. I'll give you my word he's gonna fix the transaction malleability too. And I give you my word he's gonna fix the dust storms. He's gonna fix the economy. He's gonna fix the exchanges. He's gonna fix the problem with the fees. Ladies and gentlemen, the new Secretary of Scaling, SegWit.
So there it is, the Secretary of Scaling, SegWit. Oh, that was a fun one, even if people don't understand what any of that means. We're not going to watch this whole one, but I just want to show you a little bit of the Shark Tank one. This took me a really long time to edit.
Next up is a maniac in a Mad Hatter hat who wants the digital currency Bitcoin to replace the dollar and usher in a new era of world peace.
Just jump ahead so you get some back and
Coins are
forth.
intertwined, like chocolate.
I'm not sure about this business, all right? I don't know if it's gonna win or it's gonna lose. So it's a big question mark, quite honestly, in my head. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna offer you the $100,000 for the 20% in your business for one reason only. I feel like you're a winner. I don't know what form that winning's gonna take, all right? I'm putting a big blank check in on you, which makes no sense, but I can't help but to feel you are a winner.
Wow. Well, I think you're great. I love what you're doing because you're a young entrepreneur. I think that Barbara has offered you a deal, and it's a lot better than what I would have offered. So for that reason, I'll go out.
I'll tell you this. You do this deal with Barbara. I'll be a partner with Barbara in it. I'll split it with you.
Yeah, I'll take money from you. Why not?
Let's do some work.
There you go. Let's do work. I like it. Wow. It's going to make me do work. Good work. Congratulations. You just proved the American dream is alive and well.
Good luck.
I like that. Doing work.
Doing work.
So yeah, I mean, mainly if you want the secret behind that, you have to cut yourself into the most positive episode of Shark Tank ever. So I found one where they really like the guy and cut myself in. Hey, shout out to Tune In, Drop Out in the chat for a $20 super chat. Thanks so much. It says it brings back memories, and it does. This is a long time ago, a long time coming. Shout out to Ben. He says, good morning, Bitcoin, 10 years, epic. Thanks for your service, helping us all navigate Bitcoin's winding history. Love you, man. Love you. And shout out to Ben too, my buddy Ben, who does the lightning bits and the Noster and all that stuff. It's good stuff. BTC Moon Guy says, I was right then and I'm still right now. Steven's heading off to work. Maybe he'll check this later. And Dave F says, good on you, Thomas. The hours of your time that you've gifted us. And I mean, a big part of this is I wanted to be involved in something positive. I felt that Bitcoin was a positive thing. I liked what Bitcoin was doing. I liked news stories about Bitcoin, like people accepting it, people helping people like Jason with the charity or Connie with BitGive and these kind of things. And I just wanted to be part of something positive. So it's a little dismaying. Like I looked today at some Twitter stuff and they're like bagging on the altcoins and attacking them. I'm like, Bitcoin doesn't care. Bitcoin is so much bigger than all this. But then you see Jack Mallers' incredible speech at the Congress and the Senate. And yeah, I think it's all been worth it. Fun thing about Jack, and I don't know, I tell this story because it happened, but when I met him, he said that he used to watch MadBitcoins in high school. That he used to come home from school, put on the MadBitcoins episode to see such a great CEO of a company like Strike doing so much for Bitcoin and the Lightning Network. Used to watch my show. It's pretty neat. It kind of means like a little piece of this show went before Congress, and a little piece of this show told them, you know, how important Bitcoin is as a, the way Jack defined it today is as a public utility, a money framework that anyone can use, just in the same way that the internet is a public utility that no one controls, anyone can use. And the internet allows us to send data, and that Bitcoin's going to allow us to send money.
Bitcoin 1000 is heavily shielded, and
it's really exciting to see Jack frame
Bitcoin
that for them and to try to get them to understand what they're really regulating here. And Jack was very serious about it. He said how important it was for America and for the American citizens, and how we could get ahead on this, and how we should not fall behind on technology. I wanted to take a bit popular videos. I'm not sure how it happened, but this video of Tatiana singing the Bitcoin song live in San Francisco is my most popular video. It has 103,000 views. Pretty unlikely, but I guess, you know, pretty girl singing a song. I can't beat that. Here's a little bit of Tatiana singing the Bitcoin song.
I didn't want to give any of my money to a nation based on war. I wanted to be free, nothing holding me back from where I want to go. I thought about it, what was the choice that I made? It was to take away the money, don't give up your money, use Bitcoin whenever you pay. Use Bitcoin whenever you pay.
Beautiful, beautiful song, just wonderful. I don't know, minor notes on this. As you can see, I'm pretty close. At this point, I just went ahead and got up there in the front row and set up my video camera. Again, no one else was videoing this, and it would have just disappeared if I hadn't videoed it.
It was to take away the money, don't give up your money, use Bitcoin whenever you pay. Use Bitcoin whenever you pay.
I think she was just in great form that day as well, just wonderful voice. And like no one cares, but I had to like walk 10, 20 blocks to get to this thing. There was no parking in San Francisco. I been there just a few times, baseball games and stuff. And yeah, it was at 16 Mission, 20 Mission, which is around 16th Street. And yeah, I had to walk from at least 25th or 30th Street or something. I was in Bernal Heights.
Was to take away the money, don't give up your money, use Bitcoin whenever you pay. Use Bitcoin whenever you pay.
Just wonderful. I could just listen to over and over, but we got to keep it moving. I was going to say with Jack meeting the Senate, we did cover the Senate hearings back in 2013 live. I think Davi, Derek, Andreas, many other people joined in to help us out. And we did the same thing in 2014. The New York Bitcoin hearings, which eventually led to the Bit license. I went to Bitcoins in the Beltway in 2014. I got to see Zhao Tong do the End of Silk Road live, which was pretty incredible. Also met Chris Ellis in person, Megan Lords, Davi, Derek, lots of other people, Will Pangman, who we'd never met before. Blake was there. Everybody was there. Maybe just a little bit of Zhao Tong. So, like, I don't want to out him, but that's Christoph Atlas there, another friend of mine from the show, and he loved this song and he loved this band and he was just so into it. This is about 20 people that we'd gathered together. Unfortunately, they had them perform after the conference when most people had gone home, but still, what an amazing performance by Zhao Tong, who did this wonderful parody of Boys to Men here.
They just don't realize that you had a pretty good run for only your first time. Woo! Maybe we'll learn together. Maybe another try. Why were you laughing? Again, but you know this, I'm sure. Maybe next time you won't be on our shore. Two people said was that you missed the bed.
So as you hear there, it's kind of a retelling of allegedly the Ross Ulbricht story of the Silk Road, and it's just a beautiful song. It won the best Bitcoin song that year in the Mad Bitcoins Christmas special. Season 3 Mad Bitcoins just keeps on going. It's pretty fun. I went to Burning Man and I went to Camp Bitcoin and I met a bunch of Dogecoiners.
That Doge spelled backwards is eGod. Did you know that Doge spelled backwards is eGod? Did you know that Doge spelled backwards is eGod? Electronic God.
Goal is to spread the decentralized dance party to all corners of the earth. Independent, autonomous DDP party cells.
So yeah, these are cool guys from the decentralized dance party. Good stuff at Camp Dogecoin. Let's see, we'll keep going here. I started the Today in Bitcoin show actually on Mad Bitcoins. I even got 4,000 views on this episode here. I'm not sure how that happened, but later I'd move it over to World Crypto Network, and I should have moved it over to its own channel, but that's another story. The Mad Bitcoins channel has 725 videos. If you were to watch Mad Bitcoins consecutively, you could watch it for 6 days, 3 hours, and 43 minutes before you had to watch a repeat. That would be all new content. It's been 10 years, a month, and 27 days, probably since I started the channel. It's been about 10 years and maybe a week since the first video was launched. We watched the introductory video here. Also, shout out to YouTube. I've been our host for all these years. I have 7.51 subscribers, around 7,500 subscribers. which was quite a lot back in the day. There weren't that many Bitcoiners, so it was a pretty small audience that we were targeting. This is the original title card, Mad Bitcoins. And I think that's about it for this Mad Bitcoins 10th anniversary show. There's lots more shows I could watch. There's lots of World Crypto Network videos. We have thousands of those. There's Bitcoin group videos. We have about 350 of those. But I just wanted to show you kind of the first 10 Mad Bitcoins videos, a couple more than those, some of the specials, and some of the things we've done throughout the years to try to spread the word about Bitcoin. And I hope we've been successful. I hope that you found Bitcoin somehow through this. Maybe it turned you off. I've heard people, they're like, I don't like the idiot Mad Hatter, but maybe it also stuck in your head and it got back to you later and you're like, maybe I should really look into those Bitcoins. Maybe they're a cool thing. So shout out to Jack E in the chat. He says, thanks for doing the show, Thomas. And Emmanuel Frost, who says he's followed me from the start. So shout out to everybody. If you're still here from the first video, you've been giving us the thumbs up, pushing the subscribe, maybe sending some Bitcoin donations back in the day when things were a little tighter, and it was really appreciated. It always went to food and rent. There's no Mad Bitcoins here. There's no big pile of cash. I freely admit I could have gotten Bitcoin in 2010. I didn't. It was stupid. It was a mistake. But part of that, it comes to this. There's different paths in our lives, and if I had chosen the get Bitcoin in 2010 path, I don't think I ever would have spoken to you guys. No offense. If you were an early Bitcoiner and you're crazy rich and you knew the right thing to do about hodling your coins, I don't think you'd ever talk about Bitcoin. So there's something special about being poor enough to talk about Bitcoin, poor enough to go to meetups and conferences and to work really hard, shoot a lot of video, edit a lot of video, try to let people speak their minds, also put some jokes in, also put some, limits on the conversation. If people are going to claim crazy stuff, you got to call them on it a little bit, that kind of thing. But it's been fun these last 10 years being Mad Bitcoins, being involved in something positive. The Bitcoin community, despite all the other things, at our core, we like Bitcoin and we are positive about it. And I like that about us. And I like what we did together. I like what everybody did, the miners, the programmers, people on Reddit, people on Twitter, YouTube, all the new people, everybody. It's been a great 10 years. I hope for another 10 years. I don't know, maybe we'll do this in 5 years. If Bitcoin gets bigger, maybe we'll do this on CBS someday after 60 Minutes. Watch the Mad Bitcoins retrospective. I don't know. Along the way, I also did Curio Cards NFTs. Those are pretty cool. We worked together on a lot of great projects like Pro Tip. I worked together with Chris Ellis. DJ Booth has worked on some great projects like xsats.net, where you can get the price of Bitcoin as well as time travel. He made Tallycoin with my help and guidance, and some other projects as well. Mistos was a really great multi-signature Bitcoin wallet, easy to use, that I supported. My friend Justin Carter did. And then later on, we did Pro Tip with Chris, Tallycoin with DJ Booth. So many great projects throughout the years, trying to push Bitcoin forward, trying to make things better for you guys and gals out there. So that's about it. We went over an hour. That was the goal. So this is the Mad Bitcoins 10th anniversary show. If you haven't seen these shows or you're more interested in the history of Mad Bitcoins, you can always go back into the video archives. We have a lot of good playlists to help you find videos, as well as the madbitcoins.com website, also designed by DJ Booth, that has a great on this day feature. You can see what Mad Bitcoins or World Crypto Network videos we made on this day, and that changes every day, as well as a lot of playlists and great videos. So thanks to everybody for 10 years of Mad Bitcoins. Oh, we're running out of time. Until next time, this has been Mad Bitcoins. Mad Bitcoins, Mad Bitcoins. Then you see, you wait a little while. You make sure that everyone's turned off the video. Put up a graphic or maybe a donation graphic. Just keep waiting. Is everybody gone? And then what I like to do is read a little bit of song lyrics like they're a poem. In this friendly, friendly world, with each day so full of joy, why should any heart be lonely? In this friendly, friendly world, with each night so full of dreams, why should any heart be afraid? The world is such a wonderful place to wander through when I've got someone you love to wander along with you. With the skies so full of stars and the river so full of song, every heart should be so thankful. Thankful for this friendly, friendly world. That was from the Andy Kaufman movie, Man on the Moon. Shout out to Jim and Andy. Thanks everybody for watching. Until next time, bye-bye.